condos and townhouses and single family residence. What's the difference? Why it's important and understanding it. So condos are different than single family residences and townhomes, right? Condos traditionally have a little bit of higher rate. They're a little riskier. And the reason is this, because you don't own the land. Okay. The condo development is you own that individual unit. You don't own the whole building and you don't own the land that it sits on. Now, as a single family resident, which is just a detached home or a home that's attached like a townhome, you own the land, so it'll hold its value a little bit better. You're not sharing stuff. So that risk is a little bit lower. That's why condos are a little bit higher risk. So they're a little bit harder. They're a little bit more underwriting. They're a little bit higher than on interest rates. So if you go and you get a quote for a condo and exact same property as a single family, you're going to get a little difference in rate. And that's because of that, right? Also, condo, again, is shared walls, shares a master policy. So it's different because there's different criteria and different underwriting for a condo, right? You have to give what they call a condo questionnaire or a condo cert that basically goes to the HOA and asks a bunch of questions, right? There's guidelines on the condo, right? Like, for example, sometimes usually the guideline is you can't have more than 50% of that entire development be non-owner or rental, right? So if they list that more than 50% are rentals or not lived in there, might be ineligible. You can't have more than one entity owning 10% or more of that entire unit. So if there's a big investment group or a big company that maybe bought up 200 of the 500 units, you might not be able to get that loan. They don't like that. Doesn't have the right reserves for the HOA budget, right? The HOA that manages condos pretty well because it's owned by a community that manages the insurance and all the common areas. They gotta have so much money in their reserves because if something happens, they get sued or they have a construction issue, they want to make sure they have enough money. Another one too is litigation. Is there any litigation going on in any of the units? Not just yours. You might be buying unit 102 and that's way the hell on the other side, but unit 1303 has current litigation. Now, depends on the litigation. If it's just like, hey, your dog came over and took a crap on my porch and I'm suing you for $500, you're not going to have a problem with that. The big one you want to be worried about is construction default litigation. If there's a current litigation going on because of a construction default, like a settling, a structure issue, you're going to have a problem getting that loan closed and that whole development's going to have issues. So again, condos are harder to qualify for. They're harder to underwrite. If you know what you're doing and you have a good loan officer that does condos and works with, usually mortgage companies have a condo desk or a condo department that handles all this, but get with someone that knows what they're doing because that could derail your deal. If you don't know and they don't get that questionnaire up front, sometimes they don't know how to order it, they don't get it right, or the HOA, they're a pain in the ass to work with and they don't get it to you in time. They charge you money for it. And sometimes they just don't give you the information you need. They give you a basic questionnaire. It's like, hey, I need you to fill out this. Sorry, we don't do that. We don't monitor that. Well, that's a guideline that we cannot sell that loan, or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac will not close on that loan unless you get that answer. So got to think outside the box, figure out how to get that information to the underwriter. So again, that's a big difference with condos versus townhomes and single families. Condos, you don't own the land, you just own the unit. Single family or townhomes, you own the land, you own the dwelling. So there's a bunch of different guidance. So be wary and be careful of condos and buying those and working with those as well.